Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So this week I've had a look through the handicap ratings to see who's dropped potentially too far or further than they should have done for their respective runs. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago we highlighted Champagne Well as being one of those. He dropped £5 and he came out and won yesterday at 20-1, which was lovely. So, who are my six this week? Interestingly, they're all over fences. I couldn't find anything over hurdles that caught my eye this time. The first horse I want to talk about is a horse called Fanny and Destrovale, who I highlighted in a video as running on really eye-catchingly in the Monet's Garden at Aintree. The thing about Fanny and Destrovale is he's been really highly tried in his career so far. Lots of Grade 1 races, and he's not up to that. He gets behind, he then runs on, but it's a much of muchness. You know, he's fourth for his last four runs. His only win came back in November 2019 at Newbury, and he's won £72,000 over fences. Now, for me, he's dropped £1 to 151. I'd be looking at dropping him into a handicap next time. And he's not actually entered for the Paddy Power Gold Cup, but I wonder whether he might get an entry for the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup. Last year, top weight was off 157, so he wouldn't be carrying top weight. It'd be 11.4, would that be? £6 lower. And I think that would really suit him. I think the way the races run would suit him, and it would be easier than taking on the likes of All Mankind and graded animals that won't run in handicaps. These types of horses that just aren't quite good enough to place in graded races that drop into handicaps, I really like them. And the race that I think Fanny and Destrovale should be aimed at is this one here, the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup on Saturday, 11th of December. So he's just one that I think when he drops into a handicap could be very interesting. If he's had a run before then and dropped further, I would be very, very interesting if he turns up in a handicap. The second horse I want to talk about is a horse called Captain Chaos. Now, he pulled up at Ascot and he went off a massive price. It was 40-1. He never had any chance, really. But we can see just 2 runs ago that he ran at Ascot and he won. He dropped £1 for his effort and he dropped back to 137. Now, I think they'll be targeting Warwick again. They finished 4th in it this year when they went too hard, and they finished 2nd in it the year before when they went too hard. He doesn't quite get that trip when they go so hard. He was 136 and 135 in those 2 races. He's running off 137 now. His form doesn't normally get going until January, February. He's actually 5 from 11 in January and February. With a couple of other placed efforts, he's fallen once and he's finished 7th once. That's his form in January and February. It's much better than the rest of his form looks. He's just one that I'm keeping an eye on going forward. I know he's old, he's getting on, but these old boys that drop into handicaps, I do like them, or drop down the handicap and are specifically targeted at a certain race. So Captain Chaos is one I think we should be keeping an eye on for. Maybe not next time, but definitely when he starts running in January and February, we need to keep an eye out for Captain Chaos. The next horse I want to talk about is a horse called Black Op. Now, Black Op is a similar sort of horse in that he's been highly tried. The last 2 occasions he's actually run at Kempton, which is where I hope he runs next, or hopefully soon. He's run in the King George and he's run in the Kauto Star Novices Chase. He finished 2nd in the Kauto Stars and he finished 6th in the King George. Now, he had no chance in the King George last year. He went off 66-1 and he was never going to win the race. But if he comes back this year, now he's dropped a further £3 to 142, he can comfortably get in this 0 to 145 race at Kempton over 3 mile on the day after Boxing Day. Does that have a name, the day after Boxing Day, other than the day after Boxing Day? I think he could be very interesting in that type of handicap. Now I know he ran in a veterans at Aintree. Veterans form can be a bit dodgy sometimes. That's not the type of form I actually want to be interested in. I'm more keen to see him go back to Kempton, so the correct way round for him, and drop in class. I think he could be interesting in a handicap rather than what he had been running in, the feature races and the graded races. So he's one to keep an eye on next time. Hopefully that'll be at Kempton. Next horse I want to talk about is a horse called Commando. Now I've mentioned in the previous video above that I was going to talk about something else from this Ascot race, and this is the horse, Commando. He dropped £3 to 137 for finishing third on Chase debut, behind Solo and Nasalam, who are also making their Chase debuts. I believe that Nasalam, who's gone up 5, and Solo, who's gone up 4, can do that again next time. They could go up another £4 or £5 each, because I think they'll both go very close next time in their respective races. So for Commando to be dropped £3 to 2 horses that I think are still ahead of their mark, that's really eye-catching for me, and I'll be very interested to see where they go with Commando. I did have a look and I couldn't actually find a suitable race or one that really jumped out for me, but I'm definitely keeping Commando in my horses to keep an eye out for when he next goes over fences. Hopefully in a handicap. I don't want to see him in a novice event. I want him in a handicap to make use of his 137 mark that I think is underestimating him and his performance. Although he was well beaten, I think it was a good performance behind 2, very nicely handicapped horses. The penultimate horse I want to talk about is a horse called Mr. Malarkey. Mr. Malarkey is very inconsistent, but he can pop up with some big price wins, and he can, he's not afraid to win, and he's not a horse that just throws in the towel. He's won plenty of races in his career, but he's one that I'm more interested in seeing going back to Kempton. Now, he could go to the same race as Black Op, but I think they might save him for the race that they've been trying to win the last couple of years with him in February. He actually, where are these races? Here we go. Oh, he won it in 2020, and then he was third in 2021. When he won it off 147. He's dropped £3 for his last run down to 148, and when he was third off 155. So he's £1 higher than when he won it. They could change tack and not actually aim at that race and turn up at Kempton in December. Could they? No, they couldn't. That's a 145. So he's one that I'm interested in going forward rather than soon. I think he's nicely handicapped. He just needs conditions to suit. Now, talking of conditions to suit, when I found Mr. Malarkey and I thought, oh, he looks nicely handicapped, I also got an email come through from Ben Aitken, who runs narrowingthefield.co.uk, and he finds trends for certain horses. So, for example, he actually liked Mr. Malarkey going forward, because if you start adding some trends onto Mr. Malarkey, so fields of 14 or less, suddenly he's 6 from 11. If you then only consider his chase runs under these prime conditions, he's 5 from 7. So that could be interesting when we see him run between November and February with an OR of 150 or less and in a field of 14 or less. So just keep an eye on him in the next couple of months. I think he's well handicapped. Ben thinks he's well handicapped, and he likes these trends for Mr. Malarkey. I will tag this Narrowing the Field blog so that you can get to it as well and have a look. There are 2 others on this free page, but I won't show you who those are. If you want to see who they are, you need to come to this page directly. The final horse I want to talk about is Potter's Corner. Now, Potter's Corner is a Welsh National winner, which we all know. Since winning the Welsh National, has he ever had conditions to suit? He won the Welsh National over 3 miles 6 on good ground off a mark of 145 with Jack Tudor claiming 7. Has he ever had conditions to suit? Okay. He then went to Cheltenham and he finished third on good ground. Not really the same conditions, is it? He then went to Warwick over 3 mile 1 over hurdles. It's not the same. He then went to Exeter over hurdles on soft. Still not the same. He then tried the Grand National and it was still probably too fast for him. It was good to soft and he pulled up. And then last time out, he was on Sunday, he ran at Aintree on good ground, in a veterans, and he was 7th. If he goes to the Welsh National, is he likely to get, well, first of all, he'll be over fences, tick. Is he likely to get soft ground or heavy ground? Tick. Is he going to be well handicapped? It's going to be £5 lower than when winning it. Okay, Jack claimed 7 that day. Jack will still be able to claim 3. So what does that make it? Mind blank. Exactly the same? No, he'd be £1 better off. Oh dear, it's not even. It's only 12.49, and my mind is blank. Yeah, he'd be £1 better off than when he won it last time. Why can't he go well? I think he'll go very well. You know, he won when he won it back in 2018. No, 2019. He went off 11-1. If he turns up to this year, I think he'll be 25-1 because of his recent form. 7th, pulled up, 7th. That looks rubbish. But it's all about conditions for him, and it's all about prime conditions, similar to Mr. Malarkey and what Ben was highlighting in his blog. I really think Potter's Corner is nicely handicapped. I know he's 11, but I will not be discounting his chance in the Welsh National if he turns up when he gets the soft, heavy going. So there's 6 horses that I think are well handicapped. They dropped too much in the handicap for their respective efforts or due to a reason, such as Potter's Corner was running on the wrong going. I think all of them will be winning races this season, and hopefully I've highlighted a couple of the races that they go on to win as well.